Hi everyone, it's Rada Duvall here with eXp Realty, and this is this week's video of Home is What I Do Best. I'm standing here in River West at the amazing gathering place with one of the owners, Joe Yato. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So the last time I was here, we had an awesome gathering of our friends and family for my husband's birthday party, which you guys were so accommodating and so hospitable. Every time we come here, we feel it's like home. So, we love the ambiance. Tell us a little bit about this neo-Gothic entryway.
Sure.
And why, what else makes us feel like we should be here every night if we want to drink?
Well, thanks for coming. Our space is a unique space. So our building was built in 1949 as a frigid air factory. And it hasn't been a factory for a long time. But now we're back to those roots, making beer here. And we used to share the building with a company called Flux Design. Mm-hmm. And Flux has built 100 plus bars and restaurants around Milwaukee, and they designed and built our tap room.
Nice.
And we really wanted it to not feel like a big warehouse, a big Frigidaire warehouse. We wanted to feel soft and intimate, and so Flux was just so great to work with, and they used a lot of woods to kind of soften the space, some reclaimed metal to keep some of that industrial vibe, but not have it be so big and warehousey. So you mentioned kind of the Gothic Archway when you enter the space.
It's very unique.
Yes, so those beams are actually the roof to an old Quonset hut, these army surplus, like half-circle sheds. Mm-hmm. And this one was on somebody's farm outside of Madison. And nice. So it's repurposed metal, and it forms that nice archway to kind of welcome you into the tap room.
So you guys made it kind of through COVID, and what do you think the future looks like here for Gathering Place? Are you going to expand at all, or are you going to do any openings anywhere else in town?
Yeah, so the COVID period was certainly challenging for us as it was for so many small business owners, and we are here thanks in large part to our great customer base. People really turned out, and that support was really touching and humbling. So now that there's light at the end of the tunnel, we're very excited for the summer. We have a lot of beer garden events where we will shut down Vienna Avenue in front of the brewery.
Great.
We are in the process of opening a second location in the Bayview neighborhood.
Sure.
And that will be part of a larger food hall and marketplace called Flower and Feed. Mm-hmm. So there will be several food vendors in there. We will have a small brewing system, and we'll be serving our beer there as well. So we're very excited about that development later this summer.
And what kind of marketing do you guys usually do? Like, how do you get people here? Because, I'm your neighbor, and my husband, who is an adult prior in his past life was a hipster, finds these types of places and brings me here, and I'm like, wow, who knew, Yeah. So how do people find you up on this north end where it's slightly more industrial than some of the other pockets of River West?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do a lot of word of mouth. Like you came and you had a great experience, and that seems to be one of the ways that we built our following over the last 4 years. We do a lot of social media marketing, and then our beer is our marketing. So we are on tap at about 150 bars and restaurants in Milwaukee. So every time we're on a tap menu, every time we're on the list at a bar, that's another way that we are engaging with people. Additionally, we have been canning our beer for about 2 years, and so our cans are on the shelf at grocery stores and liquor stores around southeast Wisconsin. So that's another way that we can reach people, and they can engage with our beer and with our company without being in River West.
Yeah, and I noticed that, for me personally, I'm a big fan, and I've had an event here. I really like it. So I just received an email about a new bottling system that you have going on. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, we have a canning line, mm-hmm. and the canning line is a new addition in the last year or so. It arrived in October, and we had previously been working with a company that's called a mobile canning company. So they own the machine. They bring it to us to use it for a day, and then the next day they're at a different brewery. But the amount of beer we were selling in cans grew so much during COVID that it made more sense to buy our own machine. And so that has given us a great deal of flexibility to make different styles of beer and to get it out to the people much faster.
So, I was uprooted and came to Milwaukee. I've been here the last few years with my husband. He's an investor in real estate, so we've been busy with that. What's your backstory? I mean, are you from the neighborhood, or how did you end up running this awesome company in the middle of River West?
I'm actually from Kansas City,
No.
so I am a transplant as well. I came to Milwaukee to go to school and really fell in love with the city and stayed here after I graduated, and then moved away for a few years, living in Chicago and then Washington, D.C. And then my wife and I decided we wanted to move back here and make our home and try to get this business a go. And the business is something that had been percolating for a long, long time. Like so many brewers of our generation, I started as a home brewer, started putting beer into competitions, and started winning a lot of awards. And so
here in the Milwaukee area?
All throughout the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic.
Wow.
So kind of submitting beer to different competitions here and there, and at first getting great feedback, and that helped me to become a better brewer, and then started winning a lot of awards.
So do you do any type of consulting for young brewers who are interested in doing what you're doing?
I would say informally. We give tours here, and I work behind the bar, and so people will say, like, oh, I'd love to start a brewery someday, and my answer is always the same. I work the bar on Sundays, you come and you buy a beer, I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Cool.
And there are breweries who are now open in Milwaukee who definitely took advantage of that, and I was happy to talk through kind of my experience and kind of give them some advice on their business model, business plan. And that's just a way the brewing industry is, and not just in Milwaukee, but it tends to be very collaborative and try to support one another.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about how to get involved or experience the type of the wonderful hospitality and ambiance that I did?
I think just following local social media channels, local publications are a great way to find out about new restaurants that are opening or new shops that are opening. And walking and riding bikes through neighborhoods is a great way to view the neighborhood a little slower. You can take in more. I know my wife and I have done so many walks during COVID in our neighborhood in Bayview, and we have seen so many things that we didn't ever realize when we drive by at 30 miles an hour. And it made us feel more connected to our neighborhood. And taking a different track of that, I feel like there was a real decision that people made during COVID to support local businesses. Mm-hmm. And that certainly made all the difference for us, and I know it has for some restaurants that we work with. And I really hope that's something that people will continue to do now that we move beyond COVID. These are the places that make Milwaukee fun to live in. Otherwise, we're just a chain, we're just a city of chains, just like every other city. So Milwaukee is really unique. It has a lot of great independent shops and restaurants and breweries as well.
Yeah, and you've lived in some big cities, kind of like I have in my lifetime. What do you think you have such a positive aura, you seem so grounded and comfortable in your own skin, and we have all these independent businesses here. What's the secret in terms of working together versus like a more competitive environment that you might find in the corporations or bigger cities?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there is a level of collective energy in Milwaukee, and I think people can realize, can set aside their own goals or ambitions, and they can see that if we work together, we can both go farther. And I moved to Milwaukee initially in 2003. In that time, I've seen the city change a great deal. Downtown looks different, the neighborhoods look different, and I feel like the city is we're going through this upswing, and I think there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of energy. Milwaukee, like any city, certainly has its challenges, and there are things that I would like to see change and grow in the city. But on the whole, I think it's an exciting time to be here, and we're happy to be here doing our part in our corner of River West.
Well, you've certainly done that, and we will be back many, many times. What do you and your family like to do in this gorgeous city 5 minutes from the lake?
Yeah, so my wife and I have a 2-year-old son, so he keeps us very busy. And it's we love going on walks, we love going to the parks and playgrounds. He is a big fan of beer gardens, and so twist my arm to take him to a beer garden. But Milwaukee, I think, has a lot to offer. The park system is great. Having Lake Michigan is wonderful. Every day I'm still amazed when I look at Lake Michigan. It never gets old. So
Absolutely.
We like to be outside. We like to go support local restaurants. There's great foods and great ethnic food in Milwaukee, and we like to take advantage of that.
Tell me about it. I don't know who isn't a foodie, right? My family too, and there's certainly so many options here. Well, I think we've covered everything, and once again, Rada Duvall with Joe Yeto of the Gathering Place Brewery, and you can check us out at parkbench.com River West, and we'll talk to you soon.